Starting. Hello, YouTube. It looks like we've started something really special. Oh, yes, guys. In case you didn't know the music, that's the music of the Fantastic Four. And tonight we have, as well as me, obviously, welcome to the Running Guru Show. We've got another 3 amazing runners, and obviously 3 + 1 makes 4, hence the Fantastic Four, in no particular order. And I'm currently drinking tea. So whoever's on air right now, what are you drinking and where in the world are you? So I've got my lemon and ginger tea. And for those of you who watch regularly know that lemon and ginger is one of my faves, closely followed by peppermint. So I'm just having a quick look as to who's on air. So if you're on air and wherever you are in the world, leave a comment below so we can see some things on air in terms of what's happening and where you are in the world. And I first need to give an apology after yesterday's vlog where I was talking about Canada and I said the states of Canada. The states, they're actually provinces. So apologies to everybody else out in Canada. So here in England we have counties, and obviously in Canada it's provinces. So yeah, but in no particular order. So I'm drinking lemon and ginger tea. My first guest is Richard Baze, Baze187. What tea are you drinking? And welcome to the show.
How you doing, Donato? You all right?
Hey. Hello. So what are you drinking?
Well, I've got my running mug going on today, and I'm drinking some of your favourite there, peppermint.
Hey, peppermint. Well done. You may have heard some other people chuckling there in the background. And my second guest, in no particular order, I would guess, is Clean Coach Katie. Hello, Katie. And what are you drinking?
Hi, Donato. I'm drinking out of my Clean Coach Katie mug, and I've just got some squash tonight. No tea. I've only just got back from teaching some classes. I'm just trying to rehydrate.
Rehydrate. I do like the branding there, by the way, Katie. Clean Coach Katie. Do you want to show it again? You got to talk.
On the back, it says stronger, fitter, faster as well.
Stronger, fitter, faster. That's what I like to hear. And last but not least, we have down in deepest, darkest Gloucestershire, out in the Shires, we've got Andy, Forest and Dean Runner. Andy, what are you drinking? And welcome to the show.
Good evening, mate. I am in the deepest, darkest Shire. I have no sponsored branded mug, just a nice, beautiful beach scene mug from Sainsbury's. And I just have hot boiled water because I'm a boring old fart.
Hot boiled water?
Yeah.
Who drinks that?
Yeah.
No caffeine at this time of night.
Water. Wow. So you've obviously all had very tough days today. So I've got a few generic questions to ask the 3 amigos. Obviously, for the 4 of us make the Fantastic Four, but I refer to them maybe as the 3 amigos. But as I say, I've got some various questions. But those of you who are watching live, if you have any questions, feel free to fire away some questions whilst I'm trying to work out my other laptop. I'm going to fire the first question to who am I going to fire this to? I'll fire this first to Katie. And the first question that I have here is, what are you currently training for? Obviously, being a runner, are you training for an A race? What is the key race that you're training for right now?
So my A race, if you don't already know from watching my YouTube channel, you'd probably know a lot of my videos. Bit of a plug, but I am training for the London Marathon. This is my fourth London Marathon, and also this year is quite special because I have achieved a championship spot.
Yeah! Oh, my glasses are off. Ah! Well done, Katie. Yes, I was going to say, for those of you who don't know, if you are watching this channel for the first time, all 3 of the amigos here all have YouTube channels, and I've left links in the comments below there, and you can click on their channel. So, Katie, championship place. How did you qualify for that championship place?
It was actually through a half marathon. So I believe for my age, I have to run sub 3:15 for a marathon. However, for a half marathon, I have to run under 90 minutes or 1 hour 30 half. And I did it in style. I do like to say that I never like to be like early, and I never like to be late. I like to be just on time, and so I managed to do that race in 1 hour, 29 and 50 seconds.
Woo! Yeah, right. So you had a good clear, what's that, 10 seconds inside? Come on, that's plenty of breathing space. Plenty of breathing space, plenty of breathing space. So that's brilliant. So what in particular are you looking forward to for London? Obviously, you done it last year, didn't you?
I did, yeah. The last one, 2014, 2017 and 2018. Looking forward to hopefully it not being as hot this time round, because if anyone knows, we've had like 2018 for spring marathons, it just felt like it was cursed. We were cursed with snow in training, and then when it got to the day itself, it was just really warm. So yeah, I'm just hoping for a good race. This year actually though, I'm quite more excited. I've got a lot more clients this year that are running their own marathons, so I'm actually just really excited for them and to see their progress. So
sounds brilliant. Sounds brilliant. How many? So you've got quite a few there. I've been looking on your channel. You've got some sponsored athletes that are there, which sounds really good. And so I'm guessing London. We hope the weather's going to be good. It was pretty hot last year, so I'm sure it'll be fine. But that same question, your next race to Andy, because I see you're drinking.
Yeah, you caught me out, mate.
What's your next? A race? What are you training for right now? Because you're always racing all the time. I see you got 10Ks, you're doing half marathons. Have you got an A race that you're aiming for?
Yeah, definitely. I try and be a little bit sensible with the old racing. I've got the Newport Marathon in May the 6th, I think it is, or 5th. And from there, I've got a couple of tune-up races coming up. London Big Half. I think that's the first weekend or second weekend of March, and then the week after that I've got the Gloucester 20 miler as a warm-up. So I'm doing 3 warm-up races for the marathon, but that is the goal, and the goal is sub 2:55 for my sins. I don't know why I've set that, but I have.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine, Andy. I mean, I've got my Berlin Express going, as you know. To get my time qualified for Berlin, it has to be a sub 2:55. But come on, someone as young and fit as yourself, Andy, you'll be fine.
Oh, we hope so. We hope so. The half marathon speed's there. It's whether we can translate it into a marathon.
Which, for those who do watch it, is, I mean, I do like to state the bleeding obvious that there is a big difference, a chasm between half marathon and marathon, and as you say, transferring the times is I'm sure you'll manage that. But patiently waiting in the background there, I can see our third and final guest. The same question to you, Rich. What is your next A race that you're aiming for? Hello, Rich. As Rich it looks like the screen is frozen. So whilst we're waiting for Rich, I'll just go through. A lot of people have all joined in here. There's a lot of people watching. So hello, everybody. I'm waving to you all. So I'm having to look at another screen. So bear with whilst I look at. So as Dan runs, hey, and Mr. Proper Jogger, Kent with a beer. What do you do with a beer, mate? You can't be a proper runner if you're drinking beer at this time. But then it is Wednesday. I'll let you off. Dave McNulty, who's got a coffee in Scotland. Good evening to you, David. Jamie Stewart, who's also in Scotland. Clearly, Scotland is taking over. And Brian Paxton in Aberdeen. So what we need to know, David McNulty, where in Scotland are you? Do you want to leave another comment below? So we've got Jamie. From what I recall, Jamie, somewhere near up in the Highlands. Is that right? So Brian Paxton from Aberdeen. Hello, Aberdeen. How's the oil up there? I think it's oil, isn't it? And Ginger Ale Trail Runner from Wales. Yes, Hen Go Ed in South Wales. So we're getting all the United Kingdom here. All we need now is Northern Ireland. And Rich has said hello on the comments here. Alan Quinn and Prophet. Oh, some questions are coming in. I'm trying to watch here what's coming in. And I've got Chris here from Here We Are Running. Evening all. Yeah. Nice, Rosa. Easter 100. Yeah. So a Jatta is saying evening, everyone. And in Lincoln. And then another one in Bucky. Oh, Jamie said he's in Bucky, Northeast Scotland. Thank you for that, Jamie. And the Royal Welsh Runner. Wow. Hello, everyone. I didn't know there was a Royal Welsh Runner. Are you related to Prince Charles by any chance? And so,
hold on, the cat's. Hold on, my cat's eating the dinner. I need to get.
Oh yes, this is the joys of live being here. So, is anyone else got a pet? They always say never work with animals and children. Show us your cat.
Little Harry.
Hello, Harry. Everybody say hello, Harry. So it's Harry the cat.
Camera shy.
Ah, he's very shy. Oh, and I've got Darren McGiven from Northern Ireland. So yes, we've got the full set of the United Kingdom, and I promise not to talk about the B word. Yeah, and we've got Royal Welsh Runner his A race. Hey, don't say that word. So we've got Royal Welsh Runner's A races Manchester, and if I don't hit sub-3, then his B races Newport. So, sorry, Mr. Royal Welsh.
Oh, you can join me.
You're running 2 marathons. When is Newport Marathon, by the way, Andy?
Beginning of May, and Manchester's beginning of April. So that's 4 weeks apart. I think that's
doable. Plenty of time to recover. As you've seen, I mean, myself in my idiotic sense, I did do, what was it? Was it 2 marathons in 6 days? Yeah, bonkers. I wouldn't recommend that. But anyway.
And those marathons were in the pouring rain and then the hottest heat ever.
Yeah, no problem at all. Easy. Eh? No, so I've got Rossa here from the States. Hey, Rich. It looks like Rich is back on. And we've got a bit of echo there. I was hearing me. And Alan Quinn from the Isle of Man. Yes, Isle of Man. I've got many happy memories there. So how's life in the Isle of Man, Alan? Is it still blowing gale winds up there? What's your next race? I do remember seeing you in the, what was it, the Isle of Man half marathon. So, Rich, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can now. I'm just having a few issues with my laptop, so I've switched to my phone and I'm good to go, I think.
Ah, hello, Rich. So we can hear you. I think when you talk, if you want to talk right now.
Yeah, I'm talking.
Ah, right. So we'll see when the screen appears, but we'll ask you the same questions. Everybody can hear. So we've got a nice, I'm trying to work out the tech here of how many are in the chat. So there's 22 people. Hello, 22 people. Leave your comments where you are in the world. So we've covered all the United Kingdom. We've got the Rossa runs over in the States. Where are you in the States? And obviously, so Proper Jogger is doing Brighton and London marathons. I did want to say that as I quickly look here, I needed to do my bonjour, boreda, and hello to everybody. But there was some comments here that I needed to use some other languages. So I was going to say konnichiwa, which is obviously Japanese for good afternoon. But I think their morning time is morning. So ohayo, which is good morning to those in Japan. And obviously good day to all my friends in Australia, because it is morning time for them there as well. So we're getting a good international connection here. So my question, Rich, whilst I was just ad-libbing, letting yourself set your gear up, what is your next A race?
My next A race was going to be the Manchester Marathon, where I was going to try and go for a reasonable time. But I actually just got an email from them. They've asked me to pace 4.5 hours. So I haven't got back to them yet, but I probably will do that. To help them out. So yeah, I don't really have a spring A race, which means my big A race for the year will be the Berlin Marathon in autumn.
Berlin. But actually, you touched on something. Whilst it's not on my list of questions, but obviously listening to our people who were interviewing, it's a good skill, you know. That you mentioned about pacing. Rich, I know you're quite a famous pacer. You've been pacing for quite a while, and you do enjoy, and I've seen you do some great races out there. What do you enjoy most about pacing?
I think the best bit is basically the finish line. If you get a load of people across the finish line in their PB time, they just absolutely love it. And just seeing everyone else going mental because they've done so well, and knowing that you've just helped them a little bit, it is really good feeling. And I say to most people, you know, you are capable of running that time. I didn't run it for you, you ran it, but just having someone there to sort of make sure you don't go too fast or too slow is really what people need, because pace and strategy can be quite difficult to get right when you're right on the edge of your ability.
Yeah. Okay. I do know that one of the questions is, you do lots of jokes on your vlogs whilst you're running. Are they scripted, or do you just ad lib as you go along?
Well, at my running club, one of the run leaders called John, he is just like a human joke book. So he's always telling these jokes at training. So I just remember them. And then if I'm in a race and something comes up that's relevant to one of the jokes, I just pull it out of the bag. So I don't really script them. They just kind of come out as and when.
I think maybe there's a new career there, Rich. You know, maybe doing some stand-up comedy. I think there's. So we're getting some feedback here. We're up to 25 people watching it. I mean, we're going to be bursting the ITV rankings, I think, at this time in terms of live views. So hello, everybody. I did get a message back from Rossa Runs. By the way, Royal Welsh Runner, snowy Port Talbot, of which Ginger Al has said it's always snowing in Port Talbot. Rossa Runs is in East Coast Pennsylvania. So Pennsylvania, 3:45 p.m. and it's -10. Well, I was going to say, Rossa, I think you win in terms of temperature. Hello, Cole. Welcome. And it looks like we have a Canadian friend who's arrived. Hello, Canada. Finally, someone from Canada has arrived. So welcome, Canada. And you did miss my Japanese intros earlier, but you can always watch it on the replay. Konnichiwa, as they say over in Japan. So Alberta, I bet it's cold in Alberta. Come on, can you outdo Rossa Runs in Pennsylvania with a -10? Because I know Alberta, it was -20 yesterday, but I digress. Leave your weather forecasts here on the comments whilst I go on to the next question, which is, and it's key to a lot of people, that when we do a lot of training, whether it be marathon training, 10K training, there's some of us have our favorite types of runs. And for me, my favorite type of run for marathon training is the long run. But I've got to say, my favorite part of the training is the resting bit, to be honest. But I do love my long runs. So my question to Katie first is, what's your favorite part of the training?
Oh, well, my least favorite part of the training, as most people will know, is a tempo run.
Your least? I love tempo.
Yeah, I love it. No, my favorite part. Now, actually, recently I've been doing a lot of training on my own, just because of my. To be fair to a lot of people will do their training on their own. But however, I'm part of a running club in Milton Keynes, and it's got over like 2,000 members, and the infrastructure we have is incredible. So the amount of runs that you can get to is insane. So to most people around this area, it's a no-brainer to go and train with people. However, because of what I do, I work a lot of evenings, so a lot of my runs have been done on my own. However, recently there's a good group of people, and we've been going out and doing our Sunday runs together. So actually, one of my favorite parts at the moment has been these long runs, because long runs should be easy, they should be chatty, and it's been really nice. We've started at someone's house recently, gone for a run, and then ended up back at their house and had some tea and toast and whatnot. So that's been, yeah, definitely one of my favorite parts. I do also love intervals. You don't like it at the time, but I love the sense of satisfaction once you finish the session, or a workout, as Andy would call it. And do
you want to explain what intervals are to some of our viewers? A quick summary, 20 seconds, go.
Intervals are a shortish burst of running, and it's running at a faster pace, so a sort of target race pace, and you then take a recovery. And the whole idea is just to help with your overall speed. So you run fast. It could be a 400-meter rep. It could be based on time. So you could be doing 7 minutes. But depending on your plan and what you're training for, it will be at either like a 5K pace or 10K target pace, things like that.
Yeah. Excellent. So you very much enjoy the social side and doing the long runs and having a good chat, which is brilliant. So same question to Rich. What is your favorite part of the training?
Yeah, I think I do like the long runs as well for pretty much the same reasons, because you're running like in your comfort zone and you can hold a conversation with people, and it is quite social. But then also don't like them towards the end with the pain and the suffering that you eventually get to in the latter part. So that's when everyone kind of goes quiet and it's just grafting, isn't it? But I like the speed work as well. I used to do sessions when I was with an athletics club. We used to do 25 times 400-meter reps off 90 seconds recovery, and I used to really like that session because it's 10K of running, but you're running at effort. Obviously, you get the breaks in between, but you're constantly running at effort. And I found doing that and pushing the heart rate higher in those sessions made my 10K pace feel so much easier.
Yeah. Excellent. And last but not least, Andy, what is your favourite part of training?
It's probably got to be, especially in marathon training, like you guys, the long run, but I actually prefer the long run workouts. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. I love the workouts, I love that side of things, but I love the long runs. And where I live with the trails, it's just kind of like, especially in the winter, I only get to run in the dark evenings on the pavement. So to be able to go out on the trails for like 18, 20 miles is something else. And I think the zone that Rich was referring to when you get towards the end is the JFDI zone, which is the just flipping do it zone. We all get there, but I think long run workouts for me, I get such a sense of satisfaction when I've done 30 miles easy and then kicked into 8 by 3 minutes on, 2 minutes off, or whatever else. Because I think for me, I love workouts, I love long runs. Combining the two, the ultimate feeling at the end is being drained and then feeling like you've succeeded in a workout and pushed hard on tired legs. Like, I don't get that feeling off of any other type of workout. I can go out and do, 400 meter repeats or mile repeats, but you don't get that feeling when you walk through the door, stagger through the door after 20 miles on the trails, having absolutely blasted yourself. It's a great feeling.
So you've really just smashed your legs. So you've done like 50
Basically,
miles, and
yes.
in the last 5 you just really hit the hammer
it down. Yeah, definitely.
So obviously, for those who were watching this, the target time that you're aiming for, Andy, in your marathon, just so that people know that the type of training you're doing, you're targeting a particular time, is a sub 3 hour. So
correct.
For a beginner doing that type of training plan, would it be recommended?
Definitely not.
Okay, correct answer. Yeah, I just wanted. Yeah, I was leading you down the garden path here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So any beginners watching,
as you would agree, when you're a beginner, do it on time. When you get more advanced, then worry about that sort of stuff.
Because I think it's one of my hot questions people keep asking me is, on your long runs, do you take it easy or do you go hard? I have seen some people who run 225 marathons who do a long run of 15 or 16 miles, all at marathon pace. But these guys are running 225, so it's a completely different ball game. And I don't think I could run a marathon pace as part of my training, 15 miles, and then start doing another set of sessions for that week. But that's just me. That's everybody there. So we're getting some good interaction here. So from various people, I don't know if you can see there. So is the whiskey being cracked out there by Al and Philly area? So yes, I think from what from a man in Alberta, he says there's a Chinook and it's +6 Celsius. So hey, don't show off now, because here in the UK right now I think it's -3 Celsius. So yeah, and Cole's going for a sub 3 hour as well. Is that right, Cole? Am I reading that? You're going to go for a sub 3? So in terms of my final question to you guys, if you want to ask, if anyone's on here watching, there's now 25 of you. I don't know, does that include us four as well? Do we get added on this? So there's only 21? I don't know. This wonderful YouTube thing is 26 now, so it's growing. People are waking up, I think, or coming back from their long runs. And so if you want to leave a question to any of these guys, add your questions in the comments, and I'll ask these guys here. But my
Donato, can I interrupt?
Go on.
You've got a really good question from the proper jogger back up towards the very top, which might be a good one to ask everybody, because I think, especially with Katie, with all of the stuff that she does extra around, and that was, what's the biggest change you're making or have you made for your training in 2019?
Good question.
That's quite a good one.
Question. Yeah. So I can't scroll on this thing here. I can't see it. But anyway, so do you want to read the question out again?
Yeah, okay. So he's basically said, where's it gone? What's the biggest change that you are making or have made in your training in 2019?
Okay. So do you want to answer that first?
Strength training, definitely. Gym twice a week in amongst the running I started it towards the end of last year. and I'm committed to it this year. It's made a massive difference already. Can't recommend it enough. Unless you're blessed with perfect form and perfect body composition with your muscles, which I don't think anyone are, and if you are, you're a model. You need to do a little bit of strength training here and there. So for me, definitely, that's mine.
Excellent, excellent. So Katie, what is the biggest change you are making or you've made in training for running for 2019?
To be honest, I'm not really changing much with my training because last year the structure of it worked really well. I had a really good training block, and just unfortunately on the day, the heat got to me a little bit. So I wouldn't say I'm actually really changing anything because I, like Andy, I do strength work. That's what I'm all about anyway. Trainer, core workouts, strength training, and I have a varied structure, so intervals, tempo runs, long runs, easy runs. The one thing I have been doing actually is that I've started last year. I did all of my interval work on my own. However, I have joined a group now to do the intervals with, so that's better because you're with a group of people. I do find it tough because if you drop off the pace, I start to panic a little bit, and I'm still getting round my head, still getting used to running with a group and having to run as a pack, and if you can't keep up, don't worry. But at the moment I am sort of struggling with a bit of a niggle, so training is not going to plan, which I feel a bit about with everything that I preach about strength training, and then I got injured.
Hey, it happens to all of us, Katie. You know, this almost like part and parcel, I think.
Pardon?
So I was just going to say, with a pack, not really good for your speed training, because I found you can actually be slowing down and not realising that you're slowing down. And but if you're with people, you'll start to, it makes you push that a bit harder. It's really good.
Yeah, that's what I love about park run, really. Sometimes I can really surprise myself. I'll be on the start line and think, oh, I'm not really feeling up to it today. And then some of the times that I am able to achieve in park run are like a tempo pace or quicker. And it doesn't feel as hard because you're getting, you're getting pulled along by people. You can focus on the person in front of you. You think, oh, I'll catch up with them and things like that. So yeah, running with people and at speed can be very beneficial.
Okay, excellent. What about yourself, Rich? Have you changed anything dramatic 2019?
I think the biggest change I've made this year is to actually more training, because over the back end of 2018, I've had kind of real low motivation for training. I've really enjoyed doing the races at the weekends, but I just haven't really had the motivation to train. So I've been doing the bare minimum and not really reaching my full potential. So I'm starting to kind of get my mojo back a bit and starting to get some bigger long runs in and get some training back in. So I think that's probably the biggest change this year, and I'm hoping to just keep the momentum going forward through the year now.
Yeah, excellent. There have been some other questions coming in as well. So Dr. Gurin, so this is a question to all three of you. You can shout in whenever you want to answer. So after a 5-kilometer race, do you do a cool down run right afterwards or the next day? And he said he's a sub 25 runner for a 5K. So it's pretty speedy. So after a 5K race, you do a cool down run straight after or the next day?
I'll jump in quickly here. So if I've ever targeted a race, if it's a target race, whether it be a 5K park run, a half marathon, whatever, I will always make sure that I do a warm-up. Warm-ups are so important to any race and just any session, really. However, if I have gone full pelt on a race, although it might say do a cool down after my race, sometimes my body is not having any of it. And literally, it will not even want to try and jog. I don't know if
not even after a 5K park run.
After a park run, yes. But if it's a target race and if I've put the hammer down, then normally I've left everything out on the course. So my body's just like, nope, not having
it. That's like when you ran your PB at the winter half. I don't think you could have done a cool down after that.
Oh, I definitely didn't. I definitely did not. I fell over the finish line.
And that's part of the cool down, isn't it? Falling down. I mean, for myself, I do a cool down run after a park run. After a 5K, if I've ran it really hard, I will just go out just for a 10-20 minute jog afterwards.
Yeah, I do recommend it, even if like sometimes some people can't face a jog, even if it's just a walk back to the car. You just need to, you know, bring your heart rate down, get the blood flow going again, and just make sure the muscles don't.
When it comes to longer distances like 10K, half marathons, I don't do any cool down runs after that. I'll do this dynamic stretches, but that's about it. What about you guys? Is there anything? Do you do any cool down runs after your 5Ks? Do you do any 5Ks?
I don't do 5Ks, but if I do a 10K, I always do a mile warm up or a mile cool down afterwards. The cool down tends to be more either a shuffle or I'll start walking to loosen up my body, because if I stand around for too long, I can't get going again. So that will be literally within 20-30 minutes of me finishing. I'll have gone in, got some cake, drunk, whatever, and then go out, start walking, and then jog half a mile to a mile, because it just allows me the next day to go out for an easy run. If I don't do that, my muscles seize up, and I always get home and have a hot bath as well. Doesn't matter if it's a 10K or marathon. So warm up, cool down, hot bath.
And cake.
And cake, of course.
Yeah. Excellent. I've got another, speaking of cake, there's a question here from David McNulty, and he's talking about, the question is, nutrition is a big part of marathon training. So I'm guessing, David, it says, what do you recommend? So it's a very big open question there. Now, I don't know whether you're asking what do we recommend as part of the nutrition during the marathon or as part of the marathon training. So I'll take it, unless you want to add in there again, David, I'm going to take it in terms of nutrition as part of the marathon training. And who wants to jump in on that question? So what kind of nutrition? Yeah, I think Katie's best qualified for this.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much. I'm actually part of like quite a few training groups on Facebook, and the biggest thing everyone is like harping on about is nutrition and like what should I eat. But unfortunately, there is no set thing. There's no set diet. Like, people shouldn't be on diets. Food is fuel, and you should use the food to fuel your body to perform well. And that's my input on it, because there is no good or bad foods. Things should be put in groups or labels, because I know that Andy, you love like pizza before a race. Now some people will be like, oh my god,
yeah, pizza's amazing.
Now personally, when I eat foods that I think or are seen as like sort of healthier, if I put good food into my body, I feel good. If I eat food which are higher in sort of starchy carbs and things that got like laced in sugar, then yeah, okay, they're good for the soul. They feel good at the time, but not necessarily straight after. So I think that, you know, if you're looking to increase your nutritional intake, then it's just sticking to lots of unprocessed fresh food. The fresher the food, the better it's going to be for your body. However, you know, when you're looking to recover, you need to make sure you're getting proteins and carbohydrates, but then also have foods that you enjoy, because food and life should be enjoyed. So if you like pizza, if you like burgers, if you like chips, include them in your diet, but don't eat them every day, because they're not going to be your waistline or your PB. And
certainly not 3 times a day or whatever. But I think the key thing for me, it's about having a balanced diet. You know, your vegetables, your fruits, and eating pizza is good and in moderation, and the same with burgers and chips and so on.
In terms of like food groups, you should make sure that there are different views out there, but I find that carbohydrates fuel my runs the best, and carbohydrates are in a lot of things that people unexpect. A lot of fruit and vegetables contain carbohydrates, and so if carbohydrates to fuel your performance, and then protein is just a really good form of recovery. So straight after a run, a hard run, I'll have a protein shake, and I'll just make sure that my meal afterwards has some form of protein in it as well.
Okay, excellent. We've got another good question in here, and from Jamie Stewart. It says, question for all, so anyone can jump in. What's your best recovery tips?
Roll your blimmin' legs.
Yeah.
Roll them.
Roll
them. People hate rolling. I'm like, why do you hate rolling? I couldn't train the way I train if I didn't get back from each and every run and roll my legs. Even if it's an easy run. If it's an easy run, sometimes I won't, but most of the time, just a quick roll of the calves, quads, hamstrings. Just only has to be those three for me. After a workout, doesn't matter what time it is at night, roll the whole kit and caboodle, legs, back, hips. I've got a little lacrosse ball, get in the glutes, just literally unknot everything, because if you're whizzing, doing intervals or whatever else, you're going to be tight and you need to be looser for the next day. So roll, roll, roll.
Do you stretch afterwards, Andy?
Yes, I don't stretch before. I only do dynamic stuff before. So high knees, butt kicks, strides before.
I mean, after the foam rolling.
And then after the foam rolling, I'll do, I might do a few stretches, but only on my hips, because my hips get very tight because I sit at a computer. So actually what I do first is I come through the door, I'll stretch my legs first, then I'll roll, then I'll stretch my hips.
Yeah, because I've been working with a local physio recently. We've been doing some workshops, and a lot of people just roll, but to get the benefit of the rolling and to keep your muscles flexible, you need to stretch afterwards.
Yeah.
So you focus on every area, whether that be calves, hamstrings, quads, if you need to get into the glutes, you know, spend a minute on each area and then do the relevant stretches after that to get the full benefits of the rolling. So
that's cool. I'll flip it the other way around then, but on the whole, I just couldn't recommend it enough.
Yeah, definitely with the I mean, I straight after try to do a few stretches, however sometimes short on time, but so if I am foam rolling, I'll make sure I foam roll and then do the stretches after that. You get the full benefits from it then.
Right, sounds good. Rich, do you have any recovery tips?
Off the back of my long runs, I will come in from a long run and I will immediately eat. So because I do my long runs fasted, and then I will eat as soon as I get in, so that I'm getting the food in within like the first 20 minutes of finishing the exercise. And then you know, I'm no expert in it, but apparently your body will absorb it all better within that first short space of time. So that's why I do that.
Thank you for that, Rich. You took my tip. That's the same one. Yeah, eat. Get food straight down your neck and let the nutrients. Is that right, Katie? The first 20 minutes, your muscles take in all the energies.
Yeah, there's a lot of research on it. I haven't done a lot of research. There's different things out there, but one theory has stated that within the first 30 minutes straight after exercise, your body apparently absorbs it better. But I'm not a nutritionist. Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
Plus, I'm just hungry when I get in, you know, even if it wasn't to help the recovery, I'm starving after a long time.
Okay. So here's a generic question. Ginger Al is doing a vlog on these 5 tips for first time marathoners. So I'm going to go along the 3 of you and give you 1 tip for a first time marathoner. Rich, over to you first.
Your goal really should just be to not get too hung up on what time you do it.
I think we're losing you, Rich. You sound in the distance.
You've never done it before, lots to catch your body and mind. Hang on. So I was just saying, just to focus on finishing the marathon rather than focusing on a time.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. So focus on enjoying it rather than getting a time.
Yeah.
Excellent. Katie, what's your 1 tip for a beginner marathon?
I would say don't compare yourself to others and don't listen to every single piece of advice that you're given, because there's so much out there. And again, I'll go back to these Facebook groups. Sometimes being part of these Facebook groups online, because there's so much and people recommend everything. But that's the whole idea of your training block, is to try different styles of training, trying different fuel, trying different pre-run breakfasts, wearing different kit. So just you need to find out what works for you with your training, so that once you've got all that focus, then you're ready and you can go into your race knowing that you've done everything you can to be prepared, but don't compare yourself to someone else and say, oh my God, they're doing the same race as me, but they're up to 15 miles already and I'm only up to 10.
Yeah. That's a really good point, Katie. I've seen people already saying, oh my God, someone's done 20 miles and I'm only up to 10. Yeah, so don't compare. Brilliant tip, Katie. Andy, what's your number one tip for a beginner marathoner?
I guess going on a slightly different tangent, but very similar to Katie, ignore social media, because social media it can be the best thing in the world and it can be the worst thing. And those Facebook groups are absolutely the devil incarnated sometimes. And some of the people that you might follow on Instagram that are ambassadors or brand people, it's all bull cobbles at the end of the day. Just ignore what you see and enjoy training, enjoy putting the miles in, and enjoy the fact that you can run. Be grateful that you can run and soak up the miles and just enjoy it, and don't let what someone else is worrying about on social media affect what you're doing.
Yeah, very, very good tip. I think it's just focus on what you're doing, and I always say enjoy the journey, because it's I mean, I've done the one of all the mistakes, and I think a lot of us do those mistakes, but my number one tip, which sort of, I'm glad we didn't prep any of this, by the way. If anyone's watching, I didn't pay Rich, Katie and Andy to talk about Facebook, but yesterday's vlog I did refer to something I saw in one of those Facebook groups, and I always advocate for a beginner, and Rich has sort of touched on it, and just to go out and enjoy the race. Don't go out for a particular time. A lot of people, I would say, don't go out fast to start with. So if you watch my vlog from yesterday, someone actually posted in a group to run the first 15K as fast as you can, and then it gets easier after that. Absolutely, as Andy said, it's bonkers, it's BS, it's really bad. And there's all sorts of people out there peddling information which, you know, it's just wrong. It's
so
wrong.
That's for the next live stream. Let's
I know. So yes, we'll do one. All the
let's do an exposing social media fraud.
So any advice, guys, on what I should carry in the bladder of my hydration pack? Water or active root? That's how I've read that. I've never heard of active root.
Tailwind.
Tailwind. Okay, that sounds like some kind of turbocharged pack. So yeah, guys, what would you carry in the bladder of hydration pack? That's from Lee Radcliffe. Thank you for that question, Lee. Anybody want to answer that? What to put in a hydration pack?
I like Tailwind personally. I don't have a bladder pack, but if I go for a long run, I will take bottles with me that I can handhold, and it has Tailwind in it. Okay, so Tailwind, hopefully that's answered that one. I'm just reading through, Cole said, and it's interesting that you mentioned about social media, Andy. Cole has said that he was bombarded with information in his first marathon, and he got very paranoid about it, which is understandable. And I got the same. I was in an absolute tiz the night before Brighton, and I was just panicking. I didn't think I'd finish, because I was just so into the social media, and you listen to so much things on it and you think, no. So Cole was saying water or Tailwind.
When you do
Tailwind is one,
you're absolutely petrified, aren't you? Petrified about this big 26.2 miles, you know, and you doubt whether you can actually do it or not. You sat there wondering, am I capable of this? And you look for any sort of source of help you can get. And people will search the internet for information or a product that might help them, but you have to bear in mind that any brand, their job is to sell stuff to you. So they're going to play on your fears, aren't they? And you know, they're going to try and sell you something you probably don't need. But the trouble is, when you first start, you don't know what you do and don't need, and you just get overwhelmed with all this stuff. That's what we're saying. Don't listen to social media, and just, you know, focus on having fun and enjoying the process. And when you get through your first one, then maybe think about how to improve your time and stuff like that later.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Cole said there's lots of people all voting on the Tailwind, so thanks for that. I've never tried it myself, but Cole was saying you learn this during training. So you learn, as you've said, and I think, Katie, you touched on the different types of foods and drinks. Try what works for you, and as I say, everybody's different. So I don't know why this question's come in. Are you ready for this one? So Ginger was saying are any of us training for an ultra in 2019? And if so, how much training will you do? I can answer that one first. I'm not planning on doing any ultras this year or ever. But anyway, that's just me. So Katie, yes, you can go in first. So you're planning an ultra for this year. Which one and what training will you be doing? How much training will you be doing?
I don't know why I actually signed up for this. It was a crazy moment, but I think because I haven't done an ultra and because I am a running coach, I feel like I have to do one to then be able to talk about it. So I am doing a really local one, which is called Shires and Spires. It's 31 miles, I think. 31 or 35. So it's not too much further than a marathon. It's about 6 weeks after London. So my strategy is to get to, like, my target race is London, and then I'm hopefully just going to keep ticking over, so then it works into the ultra.
Right, that sounds a good plan. So marathon training and then keep it ticking over.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I could do it the other way around, where my ultra is my target and then the marathon is part of the training. However, London's really my target.
Okay, excellent.
However, I do know that there's quite a few people actually within our club that train for ultras, and because your body can't handle, so some ultras are like 60, 100 miles.
100 miles, yeah.
And your body can't really cope with doing long runs on one day. So people then split down and do long runs Saturday and Sunday back to back, which helps. So you run on Saturday and then you run long again on Sunday. You're running on sort of tired legs, so that's what helps build the endurance for the ultras. Yeah, good point. Carl did come in, by the way, that he did say there are some lovely people on social media, and we do need to stress, obviously, right here you're watching on YouTube, this is a social media channel, and we are lovely, all four of us. So yes, there are lovely people on social media.
I'd like to say Colin and his brother Keith are also lovely people on social media.
Absolutely. So there are some really good people, and all 27 people watching, you're all lovely people. So there's some more questions coming in, but I wanted to add on that from what Katie said is that just a little random fact that I'd read for the lady who has the world record for 24-hour running, which is pretty ultra to me, and also the record for the 100 miles, that the longest long run she ever does is 20 miles. And that's a perfect point you said there, Katie. I think she does a Saturday and Sunday 20 milers, but other days she doesn't go beyond 20 miles because in her words, she says her body can't cope with doing mega miles at one time. So I think, Ginger Al, our tip would be is don't go out doing, I know there are people, and again, everybody's different. There are some people who might do, if they're training for a 100 miler, they might go out for 30 or 40 miles. But these guys might be proper endurance runners who are going to be in the top 10 finishing. But yeah, so keep them short and sweet and just do marathon training plus a little bit more. So another question has come in that obviously Carl was saying that ultras is like an eating contest, run, walk, eat, repeat. I do like that. So maybe I should do an ultra.
Oh, ultras are just basically moving picnics, aren't they?
Moving picnics. You'll be fine, Katie. Just get your picnic pack out. You'll be fine. And another question here we go, which is sort of picking up from maybe Rich, you saying in terms of lack of motivation. So there's a question here. How do you get over the lack of motivation? I know having a plan helps and preparing my kit before I go to sleep. So it's the first thing I see. How do you guys deal with the I cannot be asked? So I don't know if our American friends understand that.
That's a good
I can't be bothered. I'm just like, nah. Is that the type of thing you mean, Royal Welsh Runner? So yeah, can't be asked.
That's a good one.
Who wants to answer that first?
Yeah,
motivation.
I think it's what's your why? What is your why? End of the day, if your why is not strong enough, then you're not going to have the motivation. I wake up every day knowing that 4 years ago I said that before I die I'm going to run a sub 1:10 half marathon, and however long that's going to take me to get there, I will take that time to get there. And so that's my why, and that breaks down into the smaller goals I have each year. And yeah, that's my why. So that why keeps me going day in, day out.
Excellent answer. Anyone else want to add to that?
I know that the Royal Welsh Runners put about having a plan, and that's really what gets me out the door. I feel guilty if I don't do the plan, because like Andy, I have a why, and I know that everything that I do in my training plan is conducive to that end result. So if I skip something because I can't be bothered, it's not going to help me with the overall goal.
Yeah. Okay.
And at the minute, because my training plan's not going as how I planned, I am just grateful to be out running. So if I can't be bothered, I think of those people that, because I've got friends at the minute that can't run either, and I'm thinking, well, they can't run, but I can, so I'm going to, and I'm going to be grateful for it.
That's great attitude there, Katie. Rich, did you want to add? How do you get over the cannot be asked bit?
I think the runs that you don't want to do are probably the ones that you should do the most, because if you don't do one, it becomes a habit, and you get in a habit of just saying, oh, well, that's okay, I've done that before, I can leave it. And it's something I've been guilty of myself last year, and getting into that negative habit. So when you're feeling that way, just get up and get it done. And the quicker you get it done, the less time you've got to procrastinate and dwell on it as well, and you just get out and do it. Yeah. And it takes a lot of self-discipline. And I'll give you all a bit of homework. There's a video that Eliud Kipchoge, the world record holder in the marathon, he spoke to some students at Oxford University. And if you got time, watch that. But he says the best time to plant a seed of self-discipline would have been when you were born, but the second best time is now. So if you are going to be trained for a marathon, plant that seed of self-discipline now and get the work done.
That video is amazing. I can vouch for that. It is inspiring. It's about an hour long. I sat through and watched it all. It was the chat is unbelievable.
Where can you find that, Rich?
It's just on YouTube. If you just look for Eliud Kipchoge, so I think it's ELUID. Yeah. And then surname KIPOCHGE. And he Oxford University, and it should come up.
Oh, Oxford Uni. So you look up Oxford Uni, Eliud Kipchoge, and it'll come up. Okay, definitely one to watch. I need to add the plan really helps, and what all three of you have said is perfectly right. I mean, there's things there. If you've got the goal and you've got something to be aiming for, I mean, one thing is each piece on the plan is just a small part going towards the end goal. So each training, like if I give an example, this morning I got up, car snowed over, covered in ice, and I've got all my kits, and I'm thinking it's like 5:30 in the morning. I've already got up. I might as well get to the gym because I weren't going to be running on the ice. So but as soon as I started to run, I really couldn't be asked, and the legs were hurting, everything was hurting. I thought, how am I going to do this tempo session? I'll just hit the button. And when I finished, boy, did I feel good. And everybody in the office today think, what the hell is he on? So I did feel amazing when I finished it. And as was said before, is sometimes the ones that you don't want to do are the ones that you'll feel the best at the end of it. So I felt so good. I feel like I might go and do another one tomorrow morning. But yeah, so it's just a case of, the dedication, discipline, getting out there and doing it. So these questions are flying in here. So the other question, I think I might skip one, but what advice would you give for people on a plan missing sessions through illness or life getting in the way?
Never chase a plan. That's my biggest advice ever.
Yeah. So if you miss, don't worry about it. Chill out.
Yeah, I know that there's a few comments after that. It's difficult to say about when do you pick it back up, but I think like Andy's had like an infection and viral infection, and also my other half James has been unwell with the flu, and so you just have to assess. You have to look at your plan and just adapt it.
Yeah.
But if it's telling you to go and do a straight away, maybe think, okay, my body's not going to be able to do that. To sort of progress back into the plan. Never try and catch back up with it, but just sort of carry on from that point. But just everyone's got common sense. Just use your brain.
Yeah. So in terms of picking it back up where it was left off, and then see if you can progress back up.
Yeah. But never try and sessions because you missed them.
The thing is if you're going to reach the finish line of your marathon or half marathon, you've got to reach the start line first. And if you try and make up for missed miles, you'll overtrain, you'll injure yourself. Or if you miss 3 weeks, so you skip those 3 weeks and try and jump forward in the plan, you're going to overtrain there. Just pick up where you left off and reach the start line undertrained. That's better than not reaching it at all.
Yeah, yeah. Does that make sense, guys? From what I'm seeing on here, yeah, it seems to be making sense. Greatly timed cough. So another question coming in here is marathon training plans. What plan would you recommend to a novice runner, novice marathon runner?
I think when I first started, I just went on the London Marathon website, and they had 3 different plans. They had sort of a beginner, a kind of intermediate, and an advanced. So I just followed the beginner plan because it was my first one. So obviously, yeah, I was a beginner, and I just followed that, and it seemed to work. You know, my goal at the time was sub 4 hours, and I got 3 hours 40 something at the time. So I don't think you need to be spending loads of money on a fancy plan for your first one.
Hey.
But then later on, when I wanted to improve and get faster, then I did need a plan, you know, to do that, because I just need a bit more guidance on what types of sessions to be doing to get faster. Yeah,
yeah. Again, I guess this comes down to the individual as well. So I know that Katie interjected, hey, because I know Katie does training plans. I'm sure.
Admittedly, when I trained for my first, I was that stereotypical first-time marathon runner, literally Googling everything that I could think of in terms of training, nutrition, what I should be wearing, how I should be sleeping. I did everything. I did so much research, and I just I guess I just got a few plans and just put them together and just kind of made my own. But at the time, I just ran at one speed. I literally had one speed. I'd like to look back at my training. I probably just did the same speed for every run.
Me too.
So I think we all did, didn't we?
Yeah. Yeah, there's no. So the one training plan I did get, I don't know if it's still available, but at the time my first marathon was for cancer research, and they gave us a plan, and it was put together by professional coaches, and it was a beginner training plan, and everything was saying just go out for 10 minutes, go out for 15 minutes. None of it said at what speed or what distance. It didn't say any of that. It just says go for a run for 20 minutes. So I did, and I only done 3 runs a week, and all the 3 runs, even the long runs, were all at the same pace, which is probably why I died towards the end of them. So yeah, I never ran slow on my long runs. I just ran at the same speed. So I still famished. So the plan never said, oh, this is a training plan to run a sub 4. This is a training plan to run a sub 3. It was just a beginner's training plan, and you go out and run 3 times a week. So there's all sorts of plans out there. Katie said you can Google all sorts of things, but just look at a general plan. I mean, most is, if you're a beginner or novice, is, you know, 3 is plenty. If you want to do 4 or 5, that's up to you. And then just run and enjoy the runs. And the key thing that I've learned is the long run should be slower than the other ones. So someone's asking, in terms of the long run, someone's asking a question here. Adyata is, how far should the longest run be? So I don't want to jump in and answer all this because I've got 3 lovely people here who can answer the question. So how long should the longest run be? And it's his second marathon, he's saying. So that means you're not a novice anymore. You're experienced. Any answers there? How long should the longest run be?
Abide by the 3-hour rule. Don't run more than 3 hours.
There you go.
Whatever distance that might be, don't run more than 3 hours. If you're going for a 6-7 hour marathon, doesn't matter. Don't go more than 3 hours.
Yeah,
there's some scientific evidence that your body breaks down after 3 hours, and it's more difficult to recover when you go over that. Now, as I said, I'm not an expert. I read that. But I've heard a lot of people say similar. When you get over that 3-hour threshold, it's more difficult for your body to recover for the next week. And that's what you've got to keep thinking. As Rich said, you've got to get to the start line first. And if you keep going, running 3.5, 4.5 hours, trying to clock up the distance, you're just going to injure yourself and not be ready for your next week. So I never go more than 2 hours 45.
Yeah, I've heard Jack Daniels has a rule of not the drink, that the coach 2.5 hours. But he does coach beginner charity runners who've never run before, so he has a 2.5 hour. So it's similar. I've heard the 3-hour one many times, and apparently from professional coaches, this is the hardest thing they need to get into people's heads as beginners, that it's not the distance, so it's not how far you run on your long run, it's how long you're on your feet. And 3 hours is plenty. If you can stay on your feet running, walking, run, walk, whatever combination you want to do for 3 hours, you will finish the marathon. And yeah, it's not about, and even when, as I say, you've mentioned 2:45. How long's your longest runs, Katie, in terms of time wise now? You're on your third, fourth, fifth marathon. How long would your longest run be, time wise?
I do train based on distance still.
Yeah.
So the longest run, I think I've got 2 or 3, maybe 20 milers in my plan. Some of them will be training runs, but one of them might be a bit more, like Andy said, a long workout.
Yeah.
So a few easy miles and then maybe some marathon pace at the end.
But the 20 miles, you won't be out for more than 3 hours?
No, I don't think so. I'm trying to
No.
work it out in my head, but no, my long runs are normally around 30 to 60 seconds slower than my marathon pace.
Yeah.
I think it depends on what pace you're capable of running at, doesn't it? Because you're capable of doing 20 miles in 3 hours or less, that's absolutely fine. You can base it on mileage. But if you are a bit more of a plodder and a slower runner, and you know that that's going to mean being on your feet for 5-6 hours, then that's way too much. You shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
A lot of new runners feel like they have to get past the 20-mile barrier because, like, for a psychological point of view. My uncle, I'll never forget this, and I'll always tell this story. He did his first marathon, I think, back in 2000 or 2001, and he ran Hyde Park, well, a 3-mile loop of Hyde Park 9 times to do 27 miles.
I have seen some plans out there that 26 miles they recommend beginners doing. And yeah,
like you said, so, like some people will be doing a marathon in 6 hours. Like just 6 hours on your feet running is just a very long time. Like I said, it's the recovery, and the idea of each session is to make sure you recover before the next one. And if you're out that long,
I mean, that's the key ingredients. That I did see people going out for 6-7 hours on a training run, which I didn't understand, and then they were complaining that they couldn't do the training runs during the week. So the key lesson there is, you should, if you're worn out and you can't do your runs midweek after your long run, you've gone out either too long or too hard on the long run. So I think that's the key points there. There's a question here. Obviously, we're focusing a lot on long runs. So the questions come in with regard to tuning your first park run, as in what advice would you give? So I want to guess by tuning, as in helping you run a quicker park run.
Intervals.
Any tips? Intervals,
and trying to run at your target pace.
So the target 5K pace.
Yeah, so normally that might be quicker than your current PB, but you should start running intervals at that target pace. You might not be able to do it to start off with, but obviously it's a target to work towards.
A good session for that is do 13 300-meter reps. So that's about 5K. So do your rep, do it at the sort of pace you want to do your park run at, have 90 seconds recovery, then do the next one and do them all off 90 seconds. And you're basically running a 5K at your target pace, but you're having these rests. And then if you want, you can do it over several weeks. You can repeat the section and just reduce that recovery a little bit each time. So you sort of then try and string all these 300-meter reps together into one continuous 5K, really.
Right. Okay. Would you say that long runs help with 5K races as well?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You've got to have the stamina to go longer than that, because if 5K is the maximum you can run, to then try and blast that out really fast is going to be almost impossible. You know, you've got to be able to run longer and further to have the stamina to. It's like speed endurance, isn't it? You need speed, endurance, and you need to blend them together.
Yeah, excellent. So it's the building up the aerobic base. So a lot of people here are all concurring with the 3 hour, not gone over 20 miles as well. I think one guy did 22. Someone was asking me, oh yeah, I know that Cole was asking me how long I was out for my longest long run for my first marathon, and I think it was, I vividly remember it, and there is a vlog out there if you scroll all the way to the beginning, 3 hours and 6 minutes. So it said run for 3 hours, so I was out by 6 minutes because I really did die for the last sort of 10K. I was just dead on my legs because I was just going at the same pace all the time, remember? So it didn't quite go to plan. But thanks, everyone, for all these wonderful questions. So I have one last question for everybody to wind up, because we've been here for over an hour now. Is this the longest ever? So if you're watching this on replay, leave some comments below. I'd love to hear from you. So my question to you guys, and you can interject however you wish. So what is the best prize you have won?
I'll go first if no one else.
Go for it, Katie.
Because I've been wearing the hat. The Kenya Impact Marathon.
Yay!
That was the best prize that I won. So I went to the National Running Show back in 2018. And we all got there quite early. I don't know who I was walking about with at the time. It might have been you, Rich.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, Impact Marathon Series. They had a stand there. We were just looking around the show, and this cheeky chappy, his name's Mark, he came up to me, he was like, do you want to enter our competition? You can win a free trip. And I was like, yeah, never. I was like, Jay's always wanted to go to Kenya. Let me put my name down. And then after, I got an email to say that I'd won a prize and I'd got a trip to go to Kenya. And it was literally one of the best experiences I've ever had.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah, check them out if you haven't heard of them before. Impact Marathon Series. They do different marathons all over the world, and it is like a marathon with a difference, because you get to see a totally different country and see the impact that you have and what the power of running has in other areas of the world.
Excellent, excellent. What's your Andy, Rich? What's your best prize that you've won?
Go on, Rich.
Oh, Rich, you win everything.
You've got so many prizes. Which one do you want to choose? Or list off your top 3 then. Go on, list your top 3.
Sorry, I've got a bit of looking. Yeah, I'm going to won some pretty cool stuff. But so I think I'm going to say the Great Wall Marathon in China. At the time, the drink Capri Sun had this contest on, and basically the short story is I won this contest to go to China, and they paid for my flights, my race entry, my hotels, everything. So I managed to go out there for 6 days. I saw quite a lot of China. I went to the Qing tombs and learned about the emperors, and I went to the Beijing Zoo and saw the giant pandas. And also, obviously, I went to the Great Wall and I ran a marathon, which takes in about 10 kilometers of the wall, and you climb just over 5,000 steps during that race. And they're not just your standard household steps, they're just mental. But it was brilliant out there. I had such a good time, and yeah, so lucky to win that. Wow,
well done. Andy?
Packet of biscuits.
Yay! We knew it'd been a packet of biscuits. What flavour were they?
Story, can you tell us?
What flavour were they? Yeah, tell us the story. Come on.
Tell you the story of the biscuits. I've won a few packet of biscuits. There's a local company around here called Rogue Runs. They do some fantastic events, and you either win cider or biscuits. And my wife always says to me, what does your running provide the family? It provides nothing to the family. So when I get to bring home biscuits, I say it does provide something to the family. It provides dunkable food in your tea. And it's always from a team prize. So we always get team prizes. And yeah, the first one was a couple of years back, and I'd never won anything in my life. And I was 4th in the team. And I think I was expecting, when they called them up, to just be the top 3. And they called my name. I just didn't know what to do. I was like, I'll get some biscuits. So I was rather excited about that. And I've gone on to win a couple more biscuits of late. So long may that continue.
Gosh.
I've just gone and fetched this. This is.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you won your age category, didn't you, Katie? Tell everybody.
Yeah, so we went to Cyprus last year, and I won my age category. I don't know what position I was, but I was 1st in my age category, and I didn't even know I'd won a prize. They had so many prizes, and I was like, oh, let's not hang about. I didn't come that high up. I think I was fourth lady, but yeah, 1st in my age category. And we were at a local bar celebrating that we'd just done the race, and I got a text from someone that follows me on social media and says, "Oh, you just got called up. You won a prize." So I had to go back and try and speak to these race organisers to try and get my trophy. So, yeah.
Brilliant stuff. So all I can say, guys, is thank you all so much for your time. Thanks to everybody who's been watching as well. So as I glance over here, because I've got another screen looking at all your questions and buzzes, so everybody's saying thank you so much. You've had a good time. And yes, Cole, my longest run 20 miles, and if it's less than 3 hours, it's less than 3 hours. So thank you all so much for your time. So thank you so much, Katie, Rich, and Andy. And a big thank you to everybody who's been watching this. I really do appreciate it. And we've had a bit of a giggle. Hopefully you found it informative. And if you did find this good in some way, then share it amongst all your running friends of some great hints and tips from some 3 fantastic people. So all it remains for me to say is thank you, good night, nos da, and buonasera, buonanotte, and see you all soon. So thank you all so much, and good night. Bye-bye. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Rich. Yes, you speak so you can appear on the screen.
Hello.
Bye-bye.
See you later, everyone.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.